Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite over the Trojans. And I want to discuss what the blueprint is for them to beat the Trojans. What is the blueprint for Oregon to beat USC, to game control them, and to potentially crush them, to gain confidence for Dante Moore, more confidence after that impressive performance against Minnesota, to continue to inspire confidence in others around college football, and to put yourself in a position to where if Michigan beats Ohio State, you could play for the Big Ten championship. Well, let's take a look at the blueprint here. So for the Oregon Ducks, ball control is key, and that's their style of game. That's where they're strong at. So lead with that. And if that doesn't work, then there are some other things they can do. But when you are running for close to 7 yards per carry, that's what Oregon has been able to do. They're second in yards per carry, averaging 6.93, with a 9.4% havoc rate allowed, the 45.8% rushing success rate, and 0.15 EPA per rush. All of those, by the way, all of those are inside of the top 11. All of those are. Well, actually, the top 16. Oregon rushing success rate is 16th. But very impressive rushing offense that Oregon has. They know how to find the end zone. They know how to make explosive runs. Recently, they've been able to create more power runs, more short gain runs, which are very important to have, especially against defenses that do not allow explosive runs. Playing ball control against a USC defense that per GameOnPaper.com is giving up, is surrendering a honestly pretty abysmal 44.8% rushing success rate. You'll have a 12.5% havoc rate. The rushing success rate allowed is 115th, by the way, guys. Very, very bad. And then USC, in terms of yards led per carry, is 109th nationally, allowing 5.4 yards per carry. Playing ball control against that defense on paper should allow you to win dominantly. Even if the defense is off and say USC is able to score more points on the road than they usually do once you factor in the fact that Oregon's the best defense they've played on the road. Even if, say, the defense has a few busted coverages or they allow USC to score in the mid-20s, which would be pretty impressive given the defense Oregon has, or maybe even low 30s, ball control should allow you to get out with a win by its own on paper. But on paper isn't enough, and I think USC is going to try to bring their best game that they reasonably can. Oregon should at least expect that. So another aspect to pay attention to is going for big passes. Iowa was able to create some offense through the air against USC in a first half. Notre Dame was able to create some, even when CJ Carr had a pretty bad game. And Michigan had a big passing play. Luke Altmaier looked like CJ Stroud, Tom Brady on the stat sheet against USC's defensive backs. Part of that was because Kamari Ramsey was out. Hopefully he's healthy here. But USC's defense is not perfect. They're better against the pass than against the run. Part of that's their pass rush. But with Oregon's offensive line, with their tight ends, with another week of Moore working with some new receivers, and maybe they get one of DeCorian Moore, Evan Stewart back for this game, go for big passes because you want to be able to run as effectively as possible and keep balance at the same time, within reason, of course. I imagine Lynn's going to sell it to stop the run. And one thing you can do to make them not do that is, okay, we'll just go deep. And if Dante Moore is accurate, we'll beat you deep. And now you got to you got to go too high safety at least. And now that's one less person in the box. You can't play quarters or you can't stack the box. And now we can run on you. Trusting your defensive line. We'll switch to the defense here for the Ducks. Don't stack the box unless you have to, because Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane are good enough to get open, to create big plays, to get possession catches, and then create yards after contact and get to the end zone. Just do. This channel will make you a college football expert and help you enjoy watching games and make more accurate predictions. So what are you waiting for? Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and watch the video all the way through so that you can get the full package. And check the description and pinned comment for more ways to help yourself and this channel. Do what you have to do to win. And I don't think that Oregon needs to stack the box. It's the same thing with Ohio State. Like Ohio State, they often do because they trust their secondary and they haven't faced teams that can pass on them, really. So at that point, yeah, you stack the box to get the additional pressure, to make sure a team doesn't try to run on you, to basically always put someone in a 3rd and 10 or longer than that, which is what Ohio State's pretty good at doing. For Oregon, they've played Indiana, who's been able to pass on them. USC, their top 2 receivers are better than IU's top 2. IU is the better quarterback, much better O-line when healthy, and the receiver room is deeper. They also have the better defense. If you're Oregon, I don't think you have to send more than 4 or 5 or put more than 5 or 6 in the box to slow down this USC offense, given it splits on the road, it splits at home. USC barely has a positive points per play margin on the road, where they've played Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska, and Notre Dame. Like, come on. Purdue's a below-average FBS team. Illinois is an above-average, maybe good. Well, they're a good FBS team. They're just an average, above-average Power 4 team. Nebraska is an above-average, maybe good Power 4 team, especially when Raiola's healthy. Notre Dame's actually close to elite. But outside of Notre Dame, who they played fairly well against, outside of a few play calls, but I thought the players played well. If Riley calls a few different plays there, they may have won. They haven't looked all that good. And Notre Dame analytically looks elite, but they could just be 10th instead of 5th, and that might be a difference between them possibly winning it all, or at least being in that conversation, versus just being a good or great team and not close to elite. So if you're Oregon, you should bank on the fact that you're the best or at worst second best team USC's played all year, and you have the best defense. You have a better secondary than Notre Dame does. So trust your D-line to not need help to stop the run and get to the quarterback. And if they do, then you can make adjustments based on that. And use your tight ends offensively, because Jamari Johnson and Kenyon Sadiq are big, they are long, they have matchup edges against probably not Eric Gentry, because Gentry's also big and long, but like Desmond Steffens and USC's other linebackers or safeties, yeah, you have matchup edges against them. So utilize the fact that you have better bodies, especially at tight end, and you can use those tight ends in a variety of ways to get down the field offensively and to open up USC's defense. And finally, put USC's defense in conflict. So utilize RPO and Dante Moore's legs. If you're able to run on them, which you should, then you can, use that to really open up the RPO and the pass and really open up the short and medium game for USC, and maybe even get a big play if they send the house and you have like a quick slant open and you can hit one of your receivers for a big gain, or Sadiq can break multiple tackles, or you run into the blitz, get by it, and Dierre Hill or Noah Whittington or Jordon Davison can take it to the house. And utilize Moore's legs too. This is a big game for Oregon. This is going to be, on paper, a tougher game than the Washington game. Be willing to use his legs if you have to. That's the blueprint for Oregon to emerge victorious from a big top 15 matchup, a college game day caliber matchup against the USC Trojans. Thank you for watching. It's my mission on College Football with Sam to make you the most informed, knowledgeable, and entertained fan as possible. We aren't perfect, but we hit the nail on the head more often than we hit our thumb with the hammer. Make sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, and if you're here, you've probably already watched the whole video. So thank you for doing those things.